What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. Today is the day. We are finally getting Judgment Day issue number 6. This is the second to last issue. The only thing remaining after this is the Omega comic. That one is really going to be the aftermath and how everything takes place after the events of this comic. It has all come down to this, with 30 plus issues. That includes all the tie-ins, everything. It has all come down to this singular moment. But before we dive into this, I do want to give a shout out to Venom issue number 12. It released today. We're going to be covering it today. And if I'm being honest with myself, I liked it much more than Judgment Day issue number 6. That is because there is a huge reveal on who Dylan Brock truly is. But when it comes to Judgment Day, this is the last ditch effort. They have to stop the progenitor. The world is on the verge of destruction. The Eternals are saving as many humans as they possibly can. The only question, can Tony Stark and the rest of the team save humanity before it is too late? Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you like this video. And with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright guys, so as we dive into the final issue of Judgment Day, this is the end of the world. The young woman that Tony Stark had talked to after everything was just devastated. We see her sitting here watching as the end of the world comes. That is when a doorway opens up and we have Captain America reaching his hand out. They came back for everybody that might still be alive, with the Eternals opening up their transport nodes all over Earth. They are using the Eternal cities to hide whatever survivors are left. But this fight, it is far from over. Being shown the individuals that we have been following throughout this entire story, the regular everyday humans. Many of them didn't make it out of this. While the progenitor had brought down the guillotine on the entire world, the machine, Earth, is holding it back. They are holding that blade, stopping it from decapitating it, with Star Fox getting tons and tons of cheers. Humanity is so thankful for their saviors. Phastos had reset the machine. This gave them just a little bit more time, with Nightcrawler letting us know that we could probably keep the Earth going for maybe another 12 hours. Maybe, just maybe, another day. This will give Tony Stark and the other heroes just enough time to really try to stop the progenitor. But Captain America, he knows that this thing is going to change tactics. It is inevitable. It is a creation of Tony Stark, and that is where we pick up with the progenitor. The progenitor knowing that he should be able to simply just explode the Earth. It had been literally designed to do so. Instead, the reality loom that sits at the very heart of the machine that is Earth, it is kept out of reach. It is safeguarded and protected, calling to it, letting it know that it needs to do what it says. He calls out to it, but it cannot hear the Celestial. Because of this, he needs to take a more direct route. This is where we see a giant crack in the Earth. The magma comes pouring out. With the progenitor opening up the Earth like this, he is going directly for the reality loop. This is where Nightcrawler says that we put in a last ditch effort. Everybody that is remaining, everybody that is left alive, we fight. We give the team inside the progenitor enough time to do whatever it is they need to do. That's where we jump over to inside the progenitor. Our heroes fighting off all the antibodies. Sinister wondering why his judgment never came, and the Eternals know that something has changed. When they passed through the last chamber, the god temporarily deactivated the protocols and resealed all of their firewalls. This means the mutants cannot control them, at least not swiftly enough. They are free to act and really just do whatever they wish. With our heroes making it to the very core of the progenitor, this is where they see him, at the very center. The progenitor not even recognizing that they are there currently. They are able to see exactly what the progenitor is doing. They know that he is searching for the self-destruct manually. At this point, it is getting desperate, which means the distraction is working. Taking a move out of Betsy's playbook, using psychic totality, Jean Grey is about to blow out the progenitor's mind as she goes in to deal this devastating blow. That is where Ajax stops her, taking a cheap shot, hitting her in the back. This stops Jean Grey from destroying the god. taking us over to what is remaining of humanity. The progenitor has broken through. Not really sure what their options are at this point. Nightcrawler is letting us know that there is an unusual mutant circuit that they have been saving just for the right occasion. On top of that, they have the armories of Uranus. They are going to distribute them to all of humanity. Any weapon that they can carry, they are going to take up arms against the Celestial. The progenitor knew it would come to this. He knew that humanity wouldn't take this lying down, that they would get desperate, that in their last-ditch effort, they would try to fight their inevitable fate. But even they know that this is futile, with Captain America giving the warning saying that this is your last chance. You can stop now, you can surrender. An almost laughable comment to our Celestial, letting Captain America know that he simply has to breathe and he would become a thin red mist. And while Captain America may not be able to stop him, he can distract him. This is where we see the Hex come descending down on the progenitor, channeling the powers of all armories of Uranus, channeling all the power of mutant kind that's left, channeling it all through Exodus. The Hex and Exodus have come together as one, mutants creating a circuit, giving them as much power as they could possibly get. A last-ditch effort, but an effective effort. We see the Hex come down on the progenitor, laying down a haymaker. We see the progenitor drop down to a knee. Back inside the progenitor, we have Jean Grey telling the Eternals they need to get out of the way. This is when our Eternal lets it be known that you are so trigger happy because you know you will have resurrection. This will be just another day for you, and in turn, mutant kind will inherit the earth. But today is the day that humanity dies. As it stands, billions are dead. But Jean Grey brings up the point that maybe we just can't save everybody. Tony Stark, from the very beginning, he has believed that there is an opportunity to turn this around. And if there is a possibility to reverse everything, they have to do it. With Ajax saying that their only option is to convince the progenitor that its judgment is flawed. On the outside, we have Exodus and the Hex. They fall to the progenitor. They lasted just enough time to give a distraction, buying time for the people inside the giant god. We have the progenitor who returns to what he was doing. This is when he sees something that is truly fascinating. We have Orcus, the group of mutant haters. They have teamed up with all humanity, with mutant kind and with Eternals. We see the likes of Nimrod coming up to face against the god. This is where Jean Grey, she's just done with it. Having Sinister knock freaking Ajax out of the way, she doesn't care about maybes anymore. She is ready to take action. They have to save whoever is left before there is nobody left. This is when the progenitor wakes up inside of himself, letting them know that it was all a test. It is a test that all of them have failed, that it was questioning itself. It is learned that they do deserve to die. Creatures that are guided solely by self-interest. Mutant kind would easily kill them because they have less stakes. And those that stand with you, the ones that hate you, they only do so because their own lives are in jeopardy. And the Eternals, even when they are free, they prove that they cannot change. This is where Cersei has had enough. Broadcasting to everybody, Cersei finally tells the truth, having a message to every single human, letting them in on exactly how their resurrection works. The Eternals' immortality has a cost. Every time one of them die, it costs one human life for them to be resurrected, using them as fuel for millions of years. They have become the vampires of this planet. With Cersei's words going out to everybody left standing, the progenitor is intrigued. He listens to the world, and humanity is outraged. A thought races through every single one of them, growing in size. The thought that she should die. And Eternals, they have never died until this moment. The progenitor moving his arm, we see Cersei turned into dust. Though she was cut off before she was able to finish what she was saying. Tony Stark lets the progenitor know that if an Eternal can change, anybody can change. But of course, our Celestial, he believes that this only proves that they deserve to die. A.X.E, she says that maybe we do, but do you deserve to kill us? The progenitor tells them that this is all a test. This is a test, but it is also a test for the progenitor. A.X.E wanted a better god. If he does this, then he fails. This is when Jean Grey finally sees it. She is somebody that has killed a planet, something that she could never come back from. This is why she failed her test. Whoever she was then, she was out of control. The progenitor is doing this with a cold heart, but she lets it know that once you have done this, there is no going back. This is something that you would have to live with, posing the question, is this something that you could live with? Tony Stark chiming in saying that you passed me for whatever lunatic reason you passed me, that this is something you can't do, that when Tony Stark gets out of his depths, he tries to make amends. So you ask, what could you do? That is what you could do. The progenitor saying that this could destroy him. That is the deal that they make every single day as humanity, that if someone as messed up as Tony Stark, with all his mistakes, with all of his flaws, if he can be a hero, so can the progenitor. In this world, that is exactly what being a hero is all about. This makes the progenitor question everything about what he is. Is he truly a god? There are many things that make him a god, or at least by definition. But if he were a god, that would mean that he is ineffable, that his judgment is flawless, that he would be without limits. But it is obvious that he is not, that he is no god, that he can make mistakes, believing that he must make amends. He will put things right as they were before the judgment day happened. He will do it at whatever the cost. This is where we turn into the whiteness. The only ones remaining is the progenitor and A.X.E. He has given up everything to save everyone. A.X.E is the maker of this god. The progenitor turning to her and asking if he was a worthy god. With her thumb going down, he knows this judgment is correct. The only thing that he does ask of A.X.E is to be a better god than he ever was. And just like that, everything is reversed. Our Celestial, what was once known as Avengers Mountain, is back to being that. Billions of people have been returned to Earth, while the scars still very much exist from these battles. The people, the humanity, they are all brought back to life. But our heroes sit remaining asking, where is Cersei and A.X.E? This is where we see the new god descend down to them. What power remained inside of the Celestial, he imbued it to A.X.E. It had removed its own judgment. Cersei, she is still dead. Humanity wished Cersei to be dead, and so she is. She is the martyr for the new church. She has brought a chance of redemption for the fallen people. But this is no longer A.X.E. She is part celestial, part eternal. But she is the new god. She will not pass judgment yet. She will strive to be worthy of a god that is good enough to judge them. Through all of this ordeal, what she has learned is that people can be good, that they can learn, they can adapt, they can become better, even if it's not the easy thing to be. This is where we see the Eternals bowing down to mutant kind. Zurus as Prime Eternal taking a knee, apologizing without reservation for the war, and their peace treaty to solidify this alliance. From now on, their fights are the Eternal fights, only if they are welcome. And they do offer one last thing. The people of Arakko get the weapon that was used against them. They have Uranus for 1 hour. They can do with this whatever they choose. They can use it whenever they would like. But Storm does ask the question, what about Druig? The Araki have left all the bones to lie until he has come to bury every single one of them himself. Zurus sees this as a very fitting punishment. But first, he has to face the punishment the Eternals are putting down on him. That is where we are shown him sitting in a cell with Uranus. We saw what he could do in an hour. Now left for thousands of years in a cell alone with him, Druig is going to truly learn what kind of power he has. Storm does ask the question, the war may be over, but what about the principles? How is it that you will not see us as excess deviation any longer? Now Zurus has a more conservative conservative interpretation of what is and what is not excess deviation. Though mutant kind and deviants share some kind of DNA together, until this triggers their excess deviation response, there is no concern about it. But this is not saying that they will never do it. This is saying that if mutant kind ever gets to the point of what they would consider excess deviation, how the deviants really deviate, then they're in the safe. Now, obviously, humanity is livid. They are not happy with mutant kind. They are not happy with the Eternals. They are just mad because there is still the topic about mutant resurrection. The world has not forgot about this. And so Jean Grey devised a plan. Mutant kind devised a plan, letting humanity know that there is no way they could back up everybody. And even if they could, it's not like it would happen quickly. It would be something that takes decades even to be possible. It'll take them a decade just to return all the dead of the mutant genocides, and their people are going to take precedence. However, they also recognize that they are in a very uniquely fortunate situation, and they are not going to refuse aid to those that need it. So in the spirit of foreign aid, she is going to be personally scanning those that are selected for immediate backup and recovery, founding what they call the Phoenix Foundation. This is a body independent from Krakoa. It will be selecting those who receive this gift. They will prioritize the vulnerable, the weak, the poor, and those the world has abandoned. This will take up 5% of all the Five's work. So of all the resurrections that will take place, 5% of that will be devoted to sick children, so on and so forth. And even if people wanted to be upset that that is not enough, how can you be angry when you are saving sick children? At least for today, this is a win for mutant kind. But this was also a win for Orcus as well. When the world was coming down, Orcus was one of the last line of defenses. Because of this, they have been propelled and put on a pedestal. They are seen as heroes, and this is only going to make things harder for mutant kind. With Jada and Captain America sitting down, bringing her a coffee, they discuss everything that has been happening. And while this doesn't necessarily prove anything, it does prove that it's not necessarily a good world, but this world has the possibility to change. The truth is, the world did not pass. The progenitor, it simply failed its test as well. It was not worthy of judging anyone. A.X.E is going to work to become a god worthy of the name. She will not make the same mistakes the progenitor did. You cannot judge an entire species in a single day. Judgment is still ongoing. Their mistakes are cumulative, and so they need to remember that every day when they wake up in the morning, perhaps today is the day the species goes too far. That today could be the day that you doom the entire earth, and so you must act accordingly, because every day is Judgment Day. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. You know, like I said, it was more or less relatively expected for it to play out this way. We do have quite a few twists in there. One of the twists being Cersei is permanently dead. We don't know if the Eternals are going to bring back the resurrection process, but we can assume that they're not going to allow it, that they won't stand for it. What that means moving forward, that could be anybody's guess, but we can see a Marvel universe that is much different moving forward. Because think about it, if Yahweh, if Allah, if Jesus Christ, you know, if any of these individuals came down, I know Yahweh and Jesus Christ are the same person, I'm just saying, if any god came down, let itself be known, let it know that you are being judged every single day. How many people would actually start to act right? How many people would start to act better? You could honestly say that the good majority of people, they would start to act right. They would act with more kindness, with more generosity. Now, if that's going to be the case when it comes to 616 as a whole, that is still going to be really up in the air. But one day, A.X.'s judgment, it is going to come. It could be 1,000 years, it could be 10,000 years. But eventually, she will get to a point where she is both worthy of doing so, and she has enough information to judge humanity. But it was predictable in the sense that everybody was brought back. From Thor to Captain Marvel, we just knew that all these people, they can't stay dead permanently. These are the heavy hitters, the real big money makers for Marvel Comics. And so we know that they're not going to stay dead. So this was it was really an inevitable outcome. What I did not expect is I thought that resurrection was just going to be off the table. I really thought that that is the direction that they were headed with this. Now, eventually that probably is going to happen. From every time traveler we have seen from the future, every single one of them say that Krakoa has fallen, that sometime in the future this paradise goes away, that this was the peak of mutant existence. And so it is only a matter of time before it goes. We just don't know when that will happen. But I do think the writers were smart. They did a very humanitarian effort, if you will, that mutant kind is going to share their resurrection, but it is only going to be with select individuals that they choose. The problem I see with this is that moving forward, if you are in tight with mutant kind, that means that you may get prioritized over other individuals. Say you're Captain America, say you are Tony Stark, you die somewhere. Do they have you backed up? Because while they may not be able to back up all of humanity, they could very easily back up all of the Avengers. Because we have already seen that it is very easy to resurrect someone like Captain America. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play with that. Because no longer having resurrection just specific to mutant kind, it really does take away all the risk of being a hero. Now, of course, they could not be backed up. They could die and never be resurrected, at least the same way that they were before. But it does not mean that they cannot be resurrected. They just wouldn't have all the memories from the past. This makes me believe that resurrection will be going away, at least in the near future. This is something that is just too powerful to have. It's something that takes away from the comics, because when a hero cannot die, what is the risk? If mutant kind can just resurrect you, if I'm Captain America and I go to you and I say, I need this person resurrected, I need T'Challa resurrected, is mutant kind really going to turn that down? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your theories. If you would like to get caught up on everything that happened with Judgment Day, be sure to check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It is going to get you completely caught up on everything going on with this series. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership, much like Patreon, having 5 different tiers from $1 to $50. From loyalty badges to getting free comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, you are getting tons of perks in the process. Now, if you are unable to do this, do me a favor, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you like this video, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.